Singapore saw its biggest decline in the number of people employed here in the first quarter of the year, and the fall is expected to get worse.
According to the Manpower Ministry, the number of people working here, excluding foreign domestic workers, fell by 25,600 in the 3 months to March 31st this year. This is worse than the estimated drop of 19,900 outlined in preliminary data.
Much of the decline was due to significant cutbacks in the number of foreign workers. But local employment also dropped slightly due to a sharper than expected fall in headcounts in trade and tourism-related industries.
Retrenchments also increased over the same period. Some 3,220 workers were laid off in the first quarter, compared with 2,670 in Q4 2019.
We're now joined by Assistant Business Editor Joanna Seow to take this discussion further. Joanna, for a start, what are the sectors hardest hit in the first quarter, and are we expecting these jobs to come back?
Thanks for having me, guys. So not surprisingly, the MOM report said that the sectors where employment took the biggest hit were tourism and consumer-facing sectors like wholesale and retail trade, accommodation and food services, and arts, entertainment and recreation. Other industries like construction and manufacturing only saw a moderate impact. And then, there are of course the evergreen sectors like public administration, health and social services, and ICT. So in accommodation and food services and retails, I guess some jobs will come back as travel restrictions ease. So Singapore is actually trying to work on travel bubbles with other countries, where both see eye to eye on the level of health and safety precautions of the other. So we could see some more travelers coming in slowly. And jobs in eateries and shops should come back once the economy reopens, assuming that everyone didn't get too used to online shopping and food deliveries and actually go out and shop and eat, And okay, actually, of course, in some cases, companies may have actually found better ways of working, more productive ways of working with fewer staff. So that's actually good for them and for the economy, as long as the displaced workers can find jobs elsewhere.
Well, Joe, the report released today was for employment in the first quarter before the circuit breaker started in April. Manpower Minister Josephine Teo also noted that the full effects of COVID-19 certainly have not been felt in the first quarter yet. So what will Q2 look like?
Well, we're almost at the end of the second quarter now. So preliminary labor market stats will be out probably at the end of July. And I think everyone expects that they will be worse because businesses will only have felt the full force of the circuit breaker measures in April and May. So like, for instance, I know of an office cleaning company which saw revenue fall by about 50% in April, and then it fell to near zero in May. So they valiantly continued paying their cleaners their full salaries in April, but then in May they had to do some wage cuts. So it's very likely that retrenchments and unemployment have picked up in general, in the past few months. And but on the bright side, the government said before that they will decide by I think the middle of June when to move on to phase 2 of reopening, which means that it could start, maybe even later this month. And Minister Lawrence Wong, he also told Bloomberg TV last week that when phase 2 starts, virtually the entire economy is expected to reopen. So that will definitely provide some relief to businesses and hopefully stave off more job losses and business closures.
Yeah, definitely it will pick up by then, Joanna. Now, even though employment fell, Joe, retrenchments did not see a huge spike in the first quarter. Why is this so?
Yeah, so retrenchments rose, but they were actually still lower than a year ago. But I mean, some people aren't captured in the retrenchment stats, like people whose firms employ below 25 workers, because the retrenchment stats only cover, firms who employ at least 25 workers. So the MOM report actually shows that there was an increase in the number of employers who made other temporary arrangements for their workers instead of taking the permanent step of firing their staff. So there were 4,190 employees who were asked to work fewer days in a week, or they were temporarily laid off in the first quarter. So that's actually 5 times as much as the number who did so in the previous quarter. And Manpower Minister Josephine Teo said that this suggests that measures to preserve jobs are working. So I think the general sense is that if workers have to choose between getting less pay and keeping their jobs, or the company closing down and then losing their jobs, they would probably choose the first option because at least they're guaranteed employment.
Right.
Well, Joe, Trade and Industry Minister Chan Chun Sing reiterated yesterday in his national broadcast that some 100,000 jobs and trading opportunities will be created to help Singaporeans get employed. The government also announced 4 budgets with a strong focus on saving jobs. How far do you think will all these go to mitigate the unemployment figures here?
Okay, so the 100,000 opportunities are part of the SG United Jobs and Skills package, which was announced at the 42 budget. So I did some calculations before, kind of like how many people will be looking for jobs this year, because I think there are 4 main groups. So first, there are those who are retrenched. So some economists have predicted anywhere from 45,600 to 200,000 job losses this year, but that was before the latest raft of support measures were announced. The bulk of those people are expected to be foreigners. So maybe you can expect like half of that to be locals or less. And then second, there are some job seekers who are not captured in the retrenchment statistics, or people who like feel forced to resign. And then there are also about 76,200 Singaporeans and permanent residents who are already unemployed in March. And then finally, there will be fresh graduates joining the job market. So this is a rough estimate, but like a graduating cohort from the unis would be about 16,000, and then 23,000 from the polys, 13,000 from ITE, and then there are also some who graduate from private unis. So of course, not all of them will need jobs because some will maybe continue their studies or go to NS. But if you add them all up, I think that it's a lot more than 100,000. So I mean, of course, 100,000 won't cover all of the people who are looking for jobs, but at least I think a substantial number will get help.
Well, thank you so much, Joanna, for that sharing. That was Assistant Business Editor at the Straits Times, Joanna Seow.